Hey everybody, what's up? This is Jack with SGTV. I want to say to any returning viewers, thank you for your continued support of the channel. If you're new here, Spy Pie Gaming makes content highlighting games, industry news, and events surrounding the gaming community. If that sounds like it's interesting to you, then go ahead and join our community by clicking subscribe. Um, Today's video is going to be a build guide of my own. I know that, so if you've been watching, you've probably seen my main character um, in some of the videos that Spy and myself have done. So I'm just going to kind of give a rundown of exactly what has gone into this particular character. So we are here on my sorcerer tank, and he is damn near unkillable. He is capable of solo running just about every dungeon there is on normal. Veteran's a little bit different. Of course, I'm only about champion for CP level 400 or so. So, we'll go ahead and start with character stats. So, let's see here. Oops. Get the user interface. There we go. Alright. So, he is a high elf sorcerer. All 64 attribute points have been put into Magicka, which is so I don't have any sustain issues. But, as you can see, I don't have any health issues either. So, stamina 16,000 seems a little low, but I really only use it to sprint and roll dodge and not block. And I'll get into why that is exactly here in just a minute. So, spell damage 3,300, weapon damage I'm not super worried about. If you notice, my health recovery is 2,600. That's pretty high. Spy gets a little pissy about it. So, but hey, you know what? I'm a tank. I made the statement in a previous video, that I'm calling all tanks out. And, yeah. So, that's where I'm at on that. Anyway, all these offensive stats, with the exception of spell penetration, which is 7,300, essentially 7,315. They're fairly low, I guess, as far as like a DPS build goes, which is okay because I should not be carrying the burden of DPS. So, because I've made a tank build. Anyhow, as you can see, my spell resistance and my physical resistance are 30,000. That is unbuffed. Critical resistance is not so great, but it's not exactly a PvP build. So, active effects, which I'll get into this here in a minute. We got Bound Aegis, Minor Resolve. Obviously, I'm an ESO Plus member, and Bewitched Sugar Skulls are the food that I choose to use, which increase max health by 3,900, max magicka and stamina by 3,600, and health recovery by 393. So without these, my health recovery is still 2,300 or so. Let's see here. So, that's kind of the overview. We can look at the advanced stats if you'd like. We'll go Go ahead and do that. Bash cost, Y cost, you know, all these. I'm gonna work on getting these down through the CP trees. I'm still so I'm champion point level 403. Let's see. I'm gonna rework that at some point, but I will go over what I've got points in thus far. Let's see here. Sprint speed 135%, so I'm a pretty quick tank. I'm pretty well resistant to just about everything. I get a bonus to physical damage 5%, and I get a bonus to shock damage 5%. Let's see, healing bonuses. Healing taken, I get a 7% bonus. But yeah, so there are the stats. Let's look at what that looks like when I do buff them. Alright, so just so you know, it's kind of a little bit of a hybrid build, okay? And I'll show you I'm gonna go over the abilities here in just a moment, and the equipment and everything that I'm wearing. My front bar is, it's arguably a DPS. This character is not fully worked out just quite yet. I am in the process of building a DPS Sorc. So once that happens and I get that all tweaked to my liking, then I will be going back and making this build here a straight up tank build. Now, so front bar, you know, I got some damage dealing abilities. I got my pet. Back bar is my tanking bar. So we've got this. Now we'll look at that. Spell resistance 3300, physical resistance 3300, right? Let's see here. This. That should have changed something. Hold on. Yeah, I gotta. That's, by the way, let's look at this. Hold on. 27,000, 27,000. Alright, so I've done something incorrect here. Hold on. Alright. Thundering Presence. Alright, now we're back on the front bar. 36,000 physical resistance, right? Max math, let's see here. So yeah. If you're gonna hit me, you better hit me hard, otherwise this guy ain't gonna die. Jack's Ruinous Nature is very hard to kill. So alright. Anyhow, we'll go ahead and we'll get into the skills that I'm using. Alright, so on my front bar, as I mentioned, it is a damage, I guess, if you wanna call it that. I often find myself in positions where I need to be doing damage, and I'm not necessarily saying that to like talk crap about DPS builds. I just know that there's a lot of leisurely players, and I want to do some of the more difficult content, and I feel like right now, you know, this is obviously, it's not a completed build, like I said, number one. Number two, I feel like I need to be pumping some damage if I want to do some of the more difficult content. Just the other day, me and Spy ran the Dragon Star and made fairly easy work of it. So anyway, all right, we'll go through these. We'll go through actives first, and I'll go back and I'll show you what I've taken for passives. All right, so I've got Unstable Wall of Storms, which is a a destruction staff ability, right? It's the unstable wall of elements, and it changes based on, which staff it is you're wielding. It'll be different if it is a fire staff or an ice staff or a lightning staff. I prefer lightning because you get off balance, you get stunned, things like that. So, and that helps your recovery of resources. So it's kind of a resource management thing. So, I guess really is what it is. But yeah, and it's an area of effect. It's a fairly big area, 18 by 8 meters, duration 10 seconds. And let's see here. Just damage the enemies in the target area every 1 second, setting concussed enemies off balance for 7 seconds. When the effect ends, the barrier explodes, dealing 6,912 shock damage. That's decent. It's a pretty decent skill. It works well for me. So, alright. I've also taken Summon Unstable Clan Fear. 746 physical damage. For the headbutt, tail spike is 874 physical damage. Once summoned, you can activate the Clan Fear's special ability for 4,230 magicka, healing you for 10,442 and the Clan Fear for 5,220. Now, this can be a critical heal, so that 10,000 can be quite a bit larger than what it says here. I'm debating hold on, let me back up. I took this as opposed to the unstable familiar because, hold on, let's see here. That is in the Daedric summoning tree, right? So I took this as opposed to the unstable familiar because healers. I'm really trying to make this video without talking a bunch of crap, but it's just I've run with a lot of different groups, and I feel like there needs to be some degree of being able to rely on myself for things. So I took this as opposed to more damage because I want to stay alive. Not that I have a problem with that, but in the event that I do, there are mechanics that happen in certain things and certain dungeons, certain boss fights. There are mechanics that do a lot of damage. If you're running with me and you see my health bar drop, don't just run in. That's a problem because I can go and stand next to the boss and just kind of laugh, right? It just is what it is, and if you don't have a good idea of that, I guess based on my resistance levels, you'll see here in a minute whenever I get to the gear that I'm wearing. So anyway, all right. So summon unstable clan fear. The next skill is Mystic Orb. This is Necrotic Orb morphed. You project a globe of annihilation that slowly floats forward, dealing 1,695 magic damage every 1 second for 10 seconds. An ally near the globe can activate the combustion synergy, causing the orb to explode for 8,288 magic damage to nearby enemies and restore 3,960 magicka or stamina to the ally, whichever maximum is higher. So, this is in the Undaunted tree. Or undaunted skills. It's right here. This is good. I feel like this is good, for any magicka character or any magicka build, really. You pop it off and then you just do your thing. Like you don't have to stand still. It does a decent amount of damage. If you're running with a group, they pop that combustion synergy. Then you're really starting to stack. So, you combine this. So let's see, you combine this with this, you're doing pretty good. You're dealing some damage. There's some elitists out there that, they would make the argument, you're not, look, I'm a tank. I'm not supposed to be, That's not my job. My job is to pull the big baddie, let him hit me, and survive it, and keep him glued to me. Okay? Your job is to chop his arms and legs off and make sure he dies quick. Okay? Not that it matters that it happens quickly, but that's your job. Your job is to kill him. My job is to keep his attention so you don't get hit because you're wet paper. So, next skill, Bound Aegis. Now, let me explain this. Let's see here. Tooltip. Protect yourself with the power of Oblivion, creating a suit of Daedric mail that increases your block mitigation by 40% for 3 seconds. Now, that's all well and good. Okay, that sounds like a tank ability. Here's the real reason I have this. While slotted, your max magicka is increased by 8% and you gain minor resolve, increasing your physical and spell resistance by 2,974. Simply for slotting this ability, you get an 8% increase in max magicka and roughly 3,000 physical and spell resistance, right? So roughly 3,000 armor and an 8% increase in maximum magicka just for having it on the bar, right? That's pretty good. Like, I'm willing to give up a slot for that. It's valuable, right? I see it as valuable anyway. Especially for a tank. You know, it increases my resource pool, number one. Number two, it increases the amount of damage that I'm able to sustain. Now, I said I don't block. I will get to that here. I promise I'll get to that here shortly. But, you know, that's a good one. By the way, Bound Aegis is in Daedric Summoning. It's right here. And let's see here. Alright, so I'm playing around with this skill. Okay, this is another one of those things I'm not quite done. So I've got Structured Entropy, which is the morph of Entropy, which comes from Mage's Guild. So, it's right here. Right? So, Structured Entropy binds an enemy with chaotic magic, dealing 10,878 magic damage over 10 seconds, and heals you for 1,247 every 2 seconds. Okay, now, the thing with this particular skill is the target is enemy, as you can see here. Target, sorry, I can't. I go to moving the mouse and it goes away. Alright, anyway, but right there where it says target, let's see, you got Structured Entropy, cast time, you know, instant target enemy. Okay, so the thing with, I've noticed this, playing around with the skill and experimenting, right? I can put this on as many enemies as I want. It doesn't go away. So, if I run up in a mob, you know, I can put it on every one of them, right? Every 2 seconds, it lasts for 10 seconds, so 5 times 12 is 6,000. 6,000 by 5 enemies, right? If it lasts all 10 seconds, 6,000 by 5, that's 30,000 health. You know, and it's not that I need the healing necessarily, but it's nice, you know, to have it there, right? So, Structured Entropy. I will say this, though, because I'm experimenting here. I'll tell you this. Storm Calling, right? The one that I had in place of that originally was Lightning Flood, which is a morph of this here, Lightning Splash. It's an AoE, and I've got some CP levels put in AoE damage. But, you know, something to think about. If you don't like, you know, moving around and turning, like, I can get hit. I have no problems getting hit. So I can stand there, lay this right here. I could put that on every single enemy standing anywhere near me. The range is 28 meters. If you're remotely close, I can get you. Okay? So, yeah, it's, you know, it's preference. I will update this build when I've got everything squared away with it. But for right now, this is where I'm at. I'm kind of experimenting, you know, seeing what I want to keep, what I don't. This front bar is likely to change once I can dedicate fully to being a tank. And really, I could probably dedicate fully right now to being a tank. You know, it's probably not that big a deal. But I will feel better about it once my DPS Sorc is done. So, anyway. Alright, so my ultimate is Thunderous Rage. This comes from the Destruction Sap skill line. So, Elemental Rage right here. And this one is another one of those skills. It changes. Fiery Rage increases the damage by 15%. Icy Rage immobilizes enemies for 3 seconds. Thunderous Rage increases duration of the ability by 2 seconds. So, I use this. It has a range of 28 meters, a radius of 8 meters, and lasts for 9 seconds. Let's see here. Let's see what it normally. Yeah, alright. So the normal duration is 7 seconds because I'm wielding a lightning staff. 9 seconds. Cost 212 ultimate. Creates a cataclysmic storm at the target location that builds after 2 seconds and lays waste to all the enemies in the area, dealing 8,641 shock damage every 1 second for 7 seconds. That's a lot of damage. Ability to last 2 seconds longer simply because I'm using a lightning staff. Okay, so I get 2 more ticks of 8,641 damage. So you lay, now assuming, right? This is not always something I have at my disposal, but I build ultimate pretty quick. And it's not, you know, you can have 500. It only costs 212. You can get there pretty quick. So, anyway, what I was going to say was this. Stack this on top of this, on top of this, and then heavy attacks. You get some damage going on, right? And probably an abnormal amount of damage for a tank, I'll say. You know, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. You're more than welcome to correct me. So, let's see here. Alright, second bar. This is my tank bar. I call it a tank bar. It's not really like optimized, but like I said, build in progress. This is just where I'm at right now. Okay, Boundless Storm. This is the first one. It is a class ability in Storm Calling. Boundless Storm, you know, it's a lightning form morph. Alright, so manifest yourself as pure lightning, zapping nearby enemies with electricity, dealing 869 shock damage every 1 second for 23 seconds. That's a pretty good amount of time. The main purpose is when I'm running through a dungeon or wherever, delve, you know, what happens is anything standing near me gets zapped and I get its attention. So, it starts following me, right? Tank. Alright. So, the radius, yeah, it's only 5 meters, but that's why I'm quick. So, I can just kind of zip in and out, right? While in this form, you also gain Major Resolve, increasing your physical resistance and spell resistance by 5,948. Now, Major Resolve and Minor Resolve stack with one another, right? So, when I pop this thing, I really got some pretty extreme resistance going on. You're not hitting bare skin at any point, right? Let's see here. Activating this grants Major Expedition for a brief period, increasing movement speed 30% for 4 seconds. I'm already really fast. I get a 30%, you know, speed buff for 4 seconds. I can pull some stuff my way. All right. So moving on, Summon Unstable Clanfear is also on this bar. That way when I swap between bars, it doesn't go away. It's really aggravating when you have to re-summon your pet if you run a pet, right? So, in my opinion, and again, this is preference, but in my opinion, it's just better to have it on both bars. I mean, the pet's doing his own damage. It's not, you know, I don't need another ability in its place. At least I don't feel that I do. So, moving on. Hardened Ward. Alright. Daedric Summoning. Hardened Ward right here. Hardened Ward. Conjured Ward Morph. Probably, arguably, one of the best damage shield skills in the entire game. Cast time's instant, radius 20 meters, duration 6 seconds. Conjure globes of Daedric energy for protection, granting a damage shield for you and your pets that absorb 14,226 damage for 6 seconds. Damage shield strength capped at 60% of your max health. Alright. Max health, 3,200. Just keep that in mind, okay? So, I'm getting the full damage shield. And that's just, you know, if I run in, something's hitting really hard, I pop that thing. I usually don't run in to a situation where I really run into problems, but, you know, it is what it is. And I've got it there just in the event that I need it. Alright. Critical Surge invokes Meridia's name to gain major brutality and sorcery, increasing weapon and spell damage by 20% for 33 seconds. While active, dealing critical damage heals you for 3,300 health. There's another health heal, right? So, increased damage, dealing critical damage heals me. The effect can occur every 1 second. It lasts for 33 seconds. So I've got a pretty good amount of time to get that to proc. And Critical Surge can be found in Stormcaller, right here. It is the morph of Surge, one of the 2 morphs of Surge. So, alright, now, let's go down here. Okay. I run a staff on both bars. So, the taunt skill that I have chosen is Inner Rage, which is the morph of Inner Fire. It comes from the Undaunted skill line, and it's right here. And so it's got a range of 28 meters. Ignites the fires of hate in an enemy's heart, dealing 3,539 magic damage and taunting them to attack you for 15 seconds. A ranged ally targeting the taunted enemy can activate the Radiate synergy, dealing 6,627 magic damage to them over 3 seconds, then an additional 7,800 magic damage to them and other nearby enemies. That's a pretty good taunt. Like, there's a lot of inherent damage built into that. The taunt lasts for 15 seconds. You know, it's something that I can keep active, right? So I can be taking part in the fight if needs be, and just flip back over to the bar, pop it again, make sure I'm near the boss, get his attention, you know, keep his attention. It's a long enough time you keep his attention. And then, again, I'm running, as an ultimate, I'm running Thunderous Rage, which is back to the weapon, Destruction Staff, Skill Lines, Elemental Rage, Elemental Storm, Morph, one of the 2. So those are the skills, active skills for this particular character build I'm using. Alright, so we'll go through passives. Alright, so in Dark Magic, I took 1. It's Unholy Knowledge, took both levels, because it is a reduction of health, magic, and stamina costs of abilities by 6%. Helps with sustain, right? And resource management. Now, I think, let's see here. Yeah, alright, so that depends on a Dark Magic ability being slotted. I don't do that. After blocking, I don't do that, which we'll get to, I promise, here in a minute. And when you cast Dark Magic, so no point in me taking any of these. Daedric Summoning, I took Rebate. You restore 300 magicka or stamina when one of your non-ultimate Daedric Summoning abilities end. The resource returned is dictated by the ability's cost. So, for me, it's going to be Magicka, right? Magicka. So I'm going to get Magicka back. Power Stone reduces cost of ultimate abilities by 15%. Resource management. Daedric protection increases health and stamina recovery by 20% while you have a Daedric summoning ability slotted. Not so much worried about, I guess maybe a little bit, right? Because Magicka builds cannot get away from using stamina as a resource in some kind of capacity. You're either using it for dodge rolling, blocking, bashing, break free, sprinting. So you get a little bit of help there, and why turn down health recovery? So, all right, Expert Summoner increases max health by 8% while you have a Daedric summoning ability active on yourself, right? So, I can't say whether or not this Summon Unstable Clan Fear actually counts in that. But I know if I pop Hardened Ward, I'm going to get an 8% increase in max health. If I pop Bound Aegis for some reason, which I could, I've got plenty of Magicka to do it. So, anyway, so there's that. And that's kind of a, I guess, you could take it or leave it kind of thing. I took it because max health 8%. Alright, Storm Calling. So, we've gone over the active skills. Let's go down here. Scroll down. Alright, Capacitor. Increases magic recovery by 10%. Resource management. Increased recovery. It's just don't turn it down. Energize. Increases physical and shock damage by 5%, which is where the boost that you saw whenever I was going over my attributes comes from. Amplitude. Increases your damage done against enemies by 1% for every 10% current health they have. Right? So, 100%, you get 10% damage done. It's a damage boost. It's worth taking. Expert Mage increases your weapon and spell damage by 2% for each sorcerer ability slotted. Now, currently, I have 2. So my current bonus is 4, which is fine. I'm not here to pump damage. I'm here. This build is a tank build. So, but for anybody who is, this is a good way to get your extra, let's see, you have 5 skills, you could get 10% extra damage. Let's see here, moving on. I'm only running destruction staffs, and I haven't actually got around to putting points into this yet, although I do have some skill points, or I have 1 skill point I could. Here recently I did a rebalance of some skills, primarily related to this down here, but anyway, crafting. So, alright, so Trifocus, Lightning Staff, heavy attacks, damage nearby enemies for 100% of the damage done. I run a Lightning Staff. Both staffs are a Lightning Staff, so I see no reason not to take it because I'm damaging the enemy that I'm targeting, and I'm damaging nearby enemies for 100% of the damage. Penetrating magic with a destruction staff equipped. Your destruction staff abilities ignore 10% of the enemy spell resistance. That's good. It's more damage, right? It's not phrased that way, but that's what it is. Elemental Force. You increase your chance to apply status effects by 100%. That's good. Concuss, off balance, things like that. If you're running, fire staff or whatever it is, burning, that's more damage. My primary focus, in my opinion, I'm not DPS centric, so my primary focus is resource management, and I don't want to have to do that with like potions and overcomplicating the situation. So, like I was talking about, if I hadn't mentioned it actually, but I believe I did, if it's if an enemy is off balance or they're concussed or stunned and whatnot, if I know for sure if they're off balance when you're doing your weapon attacks and you're restoring your resources, you get more when they're off balance and things like that. So from a lightning staff, those are where you get those status effects from. Alright. Moving on to Ancient Knowledge. Equipping a lightning staff increases your damage done with area of effect abilities by 10%. That's what this is. Okay, that's what that is. So that's 10% increase in damage, right? Now you could go the ice. A tank normally will go the ice staff route. In this particular passive, you get reduced cost by blocking by 36% and increased amount of damage you block by 20%, which is, that's good. If your preference is an Inferno staff, you increase your damage done with single target abilities by 10%. This is a single target ability, right? That's a single target. Okay, so it's just another way to pump more damage in a different way. Lightning staff actually benefits what it is that I got going on right here. So let's see here. Armor. I am not wearing any light or medium armor currently, which is going to change at some point because of this undaunted metal. But alright, so heavy armor, I took it all. Took every one of them. Resolve, increase physical and spell resistance by 343 for each piece of heavy armor equipped. Current bonus 2400, that's 2400 resistance for just having it. Don't pass that up. Not if you're trying to build a tank build or somebody who can take a hit. Constitution increases health recovery by 4% for each piece of heavy armor equipped. My current bonus is 28%. You restore 108 magic and stamina when you take damage for each piece of heavy armor equipped. This effect can occur once every 4 seconds, so my current bonus is 757. I'm a tank, so what I'm literally built to do is take damage, and I'm okay with it. Like, if my health bar doesn't dip very often. So this right here, this Constitution passive, is a good one for me. Juggernaut increases your max health by 2% for each heavy armor piece of heavy armor equipped. Current bonus 14%. So there you go. That's me stacking health without putting any points into health. So current bonus 14%. That's 14% health. Just for wearing heavy armor. Revitalize is next. Increases magicka or stamina. Increases the magicka or stamina your heavy attacks restored by 4% for each piece of heavy armor worn. Current bonus is 28%. I'm primarily using magicka. If I understand it correctly, staff deal spell damage, which would be magicka. So when I heavy attack, I'm getting magicka back. 28% on top of that is a good thing. That's resource management. That's, when you're in the heat of any kind of battle in this game, that's what you want. You want to be able to not be thinking a whole lot about resource management because it overcomplicates the situation real quick. And then we have Rapid Mending, which increases healing received by 1% for each piece of heavy armor worn. You got 7 pieces of armor. I'm wearing all 7 pieces of heavy, so my current bonus is 7%. So if I get a heal, I get an extra 7% for that. Alright, let's see here. Dark Brother, Fighter's Guild. So I did take Intimidating Presence and Mage's Guild, or Persuasive Will in the Mage's Guild. So Let's see here. I took those just, I don't know, to interest, to create some more interesting situations, I guess, in quest lines. Alright, so Undaunted Command, activating a synergy, restores 2% of your max health, stamina, and magicka. My current bonus is 652 health, 325 stamina, and 697 magicka. The next upgrade, I'm not exactly certain how much it goes up, but it started at 2. I can see it maybe going to 4. You know, I haven't looked this up, but anyway, this is another passive that I will be taking, and it will be the reason that the all heavy changes, which then in turn will change me not having any points in light and medium armor. And I know in the most recent Waking Flame DLC that dropped to PC last Monday, and I believe it's dropping on consoles this coming or today, is, you know, is fundamentally changing those two particular armor lines, skill lines, for more hybridized builds, which I think is a good thing. I know we've talked about it on this channel before. You know, it just gives you some like versatility and variety in what it is exactly you can do. But anyway, Undaunted Metal, increase max health, stamina, and magicka by 1% per type of heavy armor. That's just, you know, what I mean. Why not take it, right? Like, my current bonus is only 1%, but you get an increase in total for just based on the type of armor you're wearing. Let's see here. An alliance for assault. Alright, so I did take continuous attack because, and I know Spy's talked about this in certain videos, but this is actually, so gain major gallop at all times, increasing mount speed by 30%. That is at all times. So, you know, take it. It makes you faster when you're on your mount. There's no reason not to. It's literally one skill point. You know, I could put it in. I could put another skill point in it. I'm not sure how much it'll go up, but I'm good with 30%. My mount's already fast in and of itself. Alright, so obviously I took all the racial passives. Highborn increases experience gain with Destruction Staff. Skill line by 15%, increases experience gain by 1%. Spell recharge. When you activate an ability, you restore 625 magicka or stamina based on whichever is lowest. This effect can occur once every 6 seconds. When you're using an ability with a channel or a cast time, you take 5% less damage. Now, something I don't know if people understand exactly. A heavy attack with a destruction staff is a channel ability, right? So when you are heavy attacking with a destruction staff, you will take 5% less damage. That's just regular heavy attacks will cause you to take 5% less damage because high elf spell recharge. So Sithis' boon increased max magicka by 2,000, and these are all obviously maxed out. Elemental talent, increase your weapon and spell damage by 258. Don't leave that kind of stuff laying on the table. It's not worth it. Just take it. You know, you can kind of go down through. These are all obviously all crafting. So I will say this: alchemy, medicinal use when using potions, resulting effects last 10% longer. That's a good one to pick up. Let's see here. I think I want to say there's another one. Alright, but I'm not seeing it. Oh, it's because it's in a different one. Alright, so anyway, make sure you grab this. Medicinal use, right? If you are using potions like, what is it? Essence of spell power or essence of stamina, things like that. Things that increase damage. Potions like that will last longer with this passive. So make sure you grab that. Now, there's also one in provisioning where it is right there. Adds it's gourmand. I don't know if I murdered that word or not. just level 1 out of 3, right? Adds 5 minutes to the duration of any eaten food. So I want to say this tops out at 15 minutes, which means you're able to squeeze another 15 minutes out of each particular food that you eat. Most classes have some type of food that they use as a consumable to increase resource pool or increase resource recovery, things like that. Like I know there's lava foot food. What is it? Lava foot, soup and salt trees for stamina builds. Obviously I use like I was showing earlier, I use the bewitched sugar skulls. 5, 10, 15 extra minutes of that, it's worth it. So I would make sure for sure grab that, and make sure you grab in the alchemy seal line, right? Make sure you grab medicinal use. It's worth it. So anyway, all right, those are all the abilities. Let's go to, where's it at? I am losing my mind here. Where is it? Let's get back into them. All right. There we go. Okay. All right. Now, here's why I don't block. Okay. This is a good piece to go out and get. And I don't care if you're a tank, a DPS, a healer, what you are. Go out, get this. It's a mythic item. It requires, the antiquity system. And it requires some time. It's an investment, but it's a worthwhile investment. So, part of it's the Gaze of Sithis one-piece set. Adds 3,276 max health. Adds 1,025 max or health recovery. Adds 4,000 armor. And here's why I don't block. Reduces block mitigation to 0. Now, that being said, 4,000 armor plus the 2,425, 2,425 armor you get from the piece itself is over 6,000 armor. Okay, that's a decent trade-off, right? So, all right, now the monster set that I use is Zaan's. You can use Grundwolf. It's, I want to say, the same critical rating, but it is straight offensive, it's straight offensive critical. It's not specifically spell critical. I just happened to come across this one first, and I'm not gonna lie, it looks a little bit better, right? Like that big thing right there on a tank, that looks a little better. Sorry, excuse me. Anyway, so the one piece, 634 spell crit. This is a heavy piece. This is one that I would like to change to a different one, mainly because the other sets that I run are not crafted sets. They're overland sets, so they, by the very nature of them, are a certain weight. Whereas monster sets come in different. They come in light, they come in heavy, they come in medium. So I will likely be trying to change this. I may change this set altogether because look, if you go digging and do your research, you will find that there are better sets for a tank. Okay. Like I said, this is kind of a little bit of a hybrid thing right now because I can't say it. I can't say it without being offensive. You know what? So I'm just gonna say it. Like I have to be able to do damage. I just do. I run a dungeon. They aren't doing enough damage. Like if me and Spy get in a dungeon, Spy is doing half the damage by himself. That's not good because he's only one of two. Okay. I understand the healer. I get that. But I'm going to tell you now, the other DPS is usually not pulling their weight. So, and it's not, you know what, look, play leisurely. I'm all right with that. But I'm going to compensate. Okay? I just am. It's not an insult. It's just saying. Anyway, it's alright. So, monster set that I'm running currently is Zaan's. Now, this comes out of. You can get the helmet. Like, if you don't have this, you can get the helmet. The helmet will. With the two-piece set, whenever you damage a nearby enemy with a light or heavy attack, you have a 33% chance, so one out of every three, essentially, to create a beam of fire that will connect you to your enemy as long as you remain within 8 meters of them. The beam deals 1,029 flame damage every 1 second to the enemy for 6 seconds. Every second, this damage increases by 100%. Can occur every 18 seconds and scales off the higher of your weapon or spell damage. That's pretty good. Okay. So if you can run the vet dungeon, it comes at a Scalecaller Peak. Go ahead. Like, if you don't have this, go ahead and get the helmet for this. Like, it's worth it. This is like the cherry on top, okay? This is an investment. And you know what? I'll make sure that I make a video about how to go about finding the leads for this. There are only 5 pieces. A couple of them are a little grindy. You gotta, run a dungeon over and over and over again. But as you can see, just look at it. If you got eyeballs, it's worth it. So now, the other 2 sets that I'm running are the Pariah, Mark of the Pariah. Adds 1,164 for a 2-piece, max health. Adds 1435 armor for 3, 1435 armor again for 4. And then here is the icing on the cake. Increases your physical and spell resistance by up to 9,850 based on your missing health. Okay? So the more something hits and the more it hurts, the harder it gets to hit and the harder it gets to hurt. Okay, that's nearly 10,000 more resistance based on missing health. So if I'm getting hit, resistance goes up, which is why I can stand as a tank. I can just stand next to the boss and keep taunt live. Okay. All of my Mark of the Pariah pieces they've all been epic. The trait on all of them is, I say all of them, hold on. One of these I do believe is not. Alright, yeah, that one's impenetrable. The trait that I use is Divines to increase Mundus Stone effects, and I'll show you the reason for that here shortly. The other set that I run is kind of a damage set, or is a damage set. And yep, I am showing off the one legendary piece that I have. Working on it. We'll get more there. The other set that I run is Spinners. 1,045 maximum magicka for 2 and 3 pieces, so that's another 2,000 max magicka. 4 items is 123 spell damage. 5 items is 32.99 spell penetration. The weapon itself is sharpened, so 3,200 physical and spell penetration. I just feel like that's where the penetration should be at. Not, it should be on your weapon. There's, some opinion difference on whether you should run a damage health enchantment, which is oblivion damage, which is flat damage, or like I'm running a lightning staff. A lot of people will run a lightning enchantment, or a charged weapon enchantment, is what it's called, in case you're looking for it in the guild stores. You do what you want. I'm running a oblivion damage, so that way it's just flat damage. It's it's two-handed. So I plan on getting another spinners, so I don't have this going on because it's kind of annoying losing, you know, um, losing that penetration, moving from front bar to back bar. Currently, I'm running the Night Slayer Lightning Staff. I've not worked on it. I have no plans of working on it because I'm going to replace it with one of these. It might be a restoration staff. If it's not, it's going to be a lightning staff. And then I have Spinner's Necklace, Spinner's Ring, Spinner's Ring. The trait is Bloodthirsty, which is, it's one of the harder traits to get. My suggestion is before you start researching anything, go ahead and go to the guild stores. If it's not yours, it could be wherever. Get something you can research the bloodthirsty trait, and then check out the video that we have about farming transmute crystals, because you're not going to find this trait on just anything. And as you can see, enemies under 90% health increases damage up to 210. So 210, 210. This is going to be bloodthirsty as well. So 630. Currently it is arcane. Now we got spell damage enchantments, which just is, it's stack damage. It's not really, I understand that's not tanky, like I said, and we'll keep saying this is a build in the works. It is, I will update the build once it's ironed out completely. Anyway, so that's all the equipment that I'm running. Mark of the Pariah, which comes out of, what is it? You know what? I'll leave it in the comment, or I'll leave it in the video description because I can't think of it off the top of my head. Spinners, I believe, comes out of Rothgar. I will double check that also and leave it in the description of the video. So let's see here. All right, so champion points. Let's go. We'll go ahead and go over champion points. All right. So crafting tree. Went and took this Steed's Blessing. That's a 20% movement speed increase when you're out of combat. Yes, I know it says out of combat. There are other movement speed bonuses or boosts, however you want to look at it. In the CP trees, this is just one. Why not? Makes you faster. So it's also a slottable. So you have to make sure you have it slotted up here. Steed's Blessing and Meticulous Disassembly. This is my main character, so I've dumped 50 points into this because I have more than one character. You've heard me talk about the DPS Sorc. It's going to be a PvE build. I also have a Dragon Knight in the works. It is going to be a PvP build because fuck Templars. The guy, it's a joke that Spy and I have. He plays a Templar, and we both fundamentally disagree with the fact that they always get buffs. They never get anything nerfed, hardly ever. They're really the bane of your existence if you don't play a Templar. Anyway, so I have Gilded Fingers. I got 10 points in that just to get it active. Fortune's Favor just to get it active. Inspiration Boost. I am maxed out or really close to maxed out, so I'm not going to bury too much into this. And then there's this Meticulous Disassembly, which improves the chances of extracting woodworking, blacksmithing, clothing, and jewelry crafting ingredients, and allows the refining of more powerful resins, tempers, tannins, and platings from raw materials. So this is worth it if you have a main character who does all your crafting. It is also a slottable, right? So you gotta make sure they're up here for them to be active. Okay. So, warfare. We started with precision. That's 160% critical chance per stage, which is, there's 2 stages, 320% critical chance. Let's go down in here. This is the, let's see here. So when you first enter this subtree, you get piercing, 350 offensive penetration per stage, which is spell and physical. There's 2 stages, 700 offensive penetration. Weapons expert increases damage done to light and heavy attacks by 3% per stage. Current bonus is 15% damage. This is slottable. It's got to be up here for it to be active. I don't have any other points in this, so let's see here. Zoom out, and then I have biting aura. This is where damage with area of effect attacks are affected. My current bonus is 8%. You get 2% per stage. You can put 50 points in this. It's called biting aura. This is another slottable, so it has to be up here to be active. Alright, so fitness. This is one that got nerfed here recently. Not this particular one, but alright. Boundless vitality, 28 max health per stage. You could dump 50 points. That's 1400 max health. If you didn't put points, attribute points in health, you better find it somewhere. So 1400, slidable ability, has to be right there, right? So boundless vitality is right here. I also have fortified, which is 34.6 armor per stage. Current bonus maxed out is 1731 armor. It's a slottable. This is one that got nerfed, so I took all the points out of it because 1.8 recovery per stage times 50 is not all that much. I can find ways to deal with that, and I can put it somewhere else. Now this tree as a whole, I'm still kind of experimenting with. But I also have sprinter, which I don't have a lot of stamina to be playing around with, so that's one of the reasons I am experimenting with this tree, or kind of playing around with the different buffs in this tree or cost reductions. I don't have a lot of stamina to be playing around with, so if some kind of mechanic happens and I'm not expecting it, and I gotta roll dodge to get out of the way, now suddenly I gotta learn how to manage some stamina, or I gotta like remember how to manage stamina that I didn't have to begin with. But anyway, sprinter, you can get a total cost reduction of 40. There are 2 stages in this, and then we'll go into the Wind Chaser tree. There's hasty, increases movement speed when sprinting by 2% per stage. This is not dependent on whether you in or out of combat. There's 2 stages, so you can get 4%. You know, why not? I'm trying to be a quick tank. That's the only thing that I have in there. And we come over here, Hero's Vigor. This is more max health, 280 max health per stage, which is 560 max health. Don't leave max health laying on the table if you can help it, especially if you didn't put attribute points into health, right? That is so far what I've done with it, but there's things like, let's see here. There are things. Where is it? There it is. Crowd control effects reduces cost of sprint by 50 stamina per stage. There are 5 stages. This is a slottable, so you would have to slot this in order for it to be active. Reducing the cost of roll dodge. If you come over here, you reduce the cost of roll dodge by 120 stamina per stage, so you can get 240, you know, but I don't have any points in that. I'm just kind of experimenting, looking around, seeing what's in this tree. This is kind of an odd tree. It's recovery, armor, max stats, cost reductions, things like that. So I'll have this a little bit more refined in the update that I'm sure is coming. I know for certain is coming. So let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, got weird there for a second. All right, let's see here. And oh wow, I do not have. Where's my Mundus Stone? I've been having issues with that here recently. I don't know if anybody else has been experiencing it as well, but that's kind of junk. Alright, so I'm going to run over and grab a Mundus. Re-grab, I guess, is more accurate. Alright, let's see here. Yes, I am at a guild hall. That's not it. It's Tower, Serpent, Lady, Lover, Apprentice, Steed. Here we go. Alright. The Steed, and this is the reason I recommend this, increases movement speed and health recovery. Okay? Accept the sign. Ooh, all majestic and stuff. Alright, let's get back over here. Look how much quicker. That's pretty fast for a tank, y'all. Like, that's a pretty good view. Anyway, okay. Alright, Boon the Steed. Increases movement speed by 14% and health recovery by 355. So, we got our stats back up here. But yeah, that is Jack's Ruinous Nature, High Elf Sorcerer Tank. That is the build that I use. And, if nothing else, I hope it was educational. I'm not saying it's the best one out there, but look, I mean, if you can't stand next to the boss and survive it and do your job as a tank, you probably got something going on that you need to address in life. And that's just, you like me saying that, then really should probably address it. So anyway, yeah, so this has been my character build for Jack's Ruinous Nature. I think sorcerers make great tanks. So the question that I'm going to ask to you all is, what do you believe race, class makes the best tank, in your opinion? Leave us the answer to that question in the comments down below, and that'd be a good way to get a discussion started. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching. If you liked the video, please like it, share it, subscribe to the page. That's how you help us keep the community growing and continue to bring educational and, if nothing else, entertaining content, hopefully, to the community members, gaming community members. So, this has been Jack. I will see you guys in the next video.